Hello. Oh, that was weird. My name is Nikon Nahraini, and this is my favorite movie behind me, The Headless Woman. And I am going to be analyzing it through a intersectionally feminist lens today. Specifically, the reason why I chose this movie is because I don't really know what I'm reading into with it and what I'm not reading into with it. And I think that always makes for like a really great discussion, especially when the movie is very like subcutaneous or like you have to read into a lot of it to get not just the conclusions that I get to, but that other critics get to, and the things that people argue about what this movie is actually doing. And so, gosh, there's so many ways I can start this analysis. So the poster here is kind of the cornerstone of where I started my analysis because I wanted to kind of explain this movie as the kind of like result of Bell Hooks's oppositional gaze, which kind of looks at cinema that is repressive, yes, but that operates with like a sense of like urgency to contain. Well, like the necessity of containment is very present in a lot of mainstream media, and so the oppositional gaze, allowing people, women, queer people, people of color, impoverished peoples, many like just all the different types of marginalized identities that can like interact with one another and may also not interact with one another. I'm just going to breeze past that little can of worms I opened there. So I guess the reason why this poster is so important to me in terms of the title as well, the Headless Woman, La Mujer Sin Cabeza, it implies a sort of like reaction to the Hollywood trope of cutting a woman's head out of the poster and thus making her kind of like usually if the other characters are men or like less sexualized women that are on the poster but don't have their heads cut off, there is some sort of there's reasons for that. You know what I'm saying? There is a marginalization of a certain image. And I do think that this kind of just like attacks that image and is like, this is what the movie is about. It is about like I like that she is black and white, which highlights a sort of binary in terms of like categorization. Maybe I'm reading into that too much. And then like the blood that comes out of the immense categorization. And categorization is one of many ways that you can read into this, like hierarchy and race and the role of femininity and how femininity is kind of attacked as a concept in oppositional ways by different people, and that kind of can create different layers of interpretation for the audience. Like I've watched this movie like six or like maybe up to 10 times. I really just like found a great number of ways that you can interact with it. So I'm getting a little ahead of myself here before having even discussed the plot of the movie. So it really begins by introducing these three boys that are running down the street by this road, this dirt road, and it is really the audio is just like very like there's no music here, but it's really giving this like tense feeling that like these kids are gonna get like run over by this like barreling truck, and we're in this like really telephoto shot in the beginning, and not the opening shot, just in the beginning. And there's like a very clear cutaway from these characters, and that is the last time that we are allowed to see these little boys as human beings, like as characters that have agency within the story and having the story actually be interested in following them. Which I'll get to a little bit later. Then we immediately pivot to this family. You kind of really don't know what's going on. And I'm not going to get into the weeds here. We just really get introduced to our main character and her family, Veronica, who's right behind me. And essentially what is set up here right after is as she like drives away from this gathering, Veronica, she hits something on the road, and given the scene before, we're implied to think that she's hit a child or something, but she doesn't get out to look. She doesn't look behind her, except for like she glances in the rear view mirror very quickly to see something that appears to be a dog, but the kids had a dog running with them, so that doesn't mean that she didn't kill someone. And there's been a handprint on the I'm getting too into it, but I do want to say that there's this handprint that's on the window that kind of acts as a red herring, essentially, in the way that it for the audience who's watching it the first time, they'll be like, oh, that's a handprint from like the person she's just run over. And it is hard to miss, but on a rewatch, you can learn that handprint was there. Like you can literally see a child put their hand on the window and cause that, and it's there before the accident. So there's all these kinds of like, I've even gotten to the intersectional aspects, but there's this like diversion of the actual how do I say it, problem at hand, which is kind of like what this movie is about and what it's doing. It's talking about moving on, not thinking about the bad things, not questioning the world that you live in and the privilege that you operate within, and that structure that is like kind of just given to you. And so we can see Veronica as a character that is both an oppressor and is oppressed, and we can see the actual mechanism that creates oppression. In my opinion, this has been like a crucial film in terms of like my thesis as an artist as a whole, as a musician, DJ, filmmaker, screenwriter, writer. Yeah, there's I have a lot to say about the concept that we should approach systems through the very specific lens, like very focused. But obviously, you cannot do that, and this kind of a discussion cannot go anywhere without discussing broader claims as well. But I love that this movie delves into something that a lot of films don't want to, which is like really getting the audience to challenge themselves and their experiences and the things that we kind of breeze past and end up supporting in the world in a way. And it's constantly doing that. Like if you watch this movie after or before this, like this is a movie that will just keep on giving, in my opinion. Upon rewatches, it's just constantly talking to itself and talking to you. Everything is subtextual. But anyways, I'll stop raving about the film and continue engaging with the actual concepts at play here. So basically the idea of her having hit someone is and kind of being reassured away from checking or seeing who she's hurt. Like the only way that she kind of apologizes is by like giving this boy like labor to do who could have been the friend of someone who has gone missing. Like we don't even know if someone has died, but that is like a problem. I guess is what I'm saying. That like again, there's dead bodies underneath the structure, which is like this thing that kind of really comes out of nowhere at the end when the family is remodeling. Another element of like this bourgeois life just being like interrupted by the history of oppression and pain that has been like covered beneath with literal concrete. I could literally talk about this movie forever, but okay. Um, so as an oppressor, I've kind of delved into that a lot. So, but as someone that is oppressed, after the accident, this woman is not acting normal. She is not doing okay, and no one in her life takes notice except for like literal strangers and like except when there's like obvious situations where she like sits in the waiting room of her own dental practice, and then her patients are like, we're waiting for you. And there's just so many ways that the film kind of just like loves to play with the expectations of like the costumes we put on and the way that the world kind of just like walks around Veron. Everyone just like kind of puts like clothes onto her and like it's very interesting. And the soundscape is very, very dedicated to making it feel like all these people that do check up on her and are just like kissing her constantly and just like talking about random stuff with her, which a lot of like, it does seem like love in a sort of way that's kind of like small talk, constant affection, constant physical love. But no one cares that she's like literally acting amnesic and like concussed as hell. And I have made the argument in the past that she's not concussed at all, that she's just going through like something really emotional. That's a really interesting way to watch this movie to think about her having all of her memories and feeling not physically sick, but just like actually not listening to people. And I don't know how far that goes because the scene where she's kind of compared to her aunt is kind of like I'm getting way ahead of myself. Anyways, the film is talking about forgetting, and that's my main thesis that I'm approaching in this essay. And I do think that this is an essay that I will write for a long, long time. I want to make a video essay on it. And yeah, so this was a nice little preliminary way of doing that. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Um, thank you. Let's see.